My name is Richard Darvaux. I'm CEO of the Quebec Hardware and Building Supply Association. I'm proud to host today Mr. Alain Dorais, President of Techniseal. We're here for the 10 minutes between CEOs series. Mr. Dorais, bonjour.
Good morning.
Mr. Dorais, Techniseal is synonymous of pavement, asphalting, sealing, and you're trying to be perceived as a one-stop shop. Did you reach this statement?
I believe so. I mean, 30 years ago when we initially developed the paver line, it came out of a need, that came out of the efflorescence the concrete pavers manufacturer were experiencing at installation or after installation. So we were asked to resolve the efflorescence problem. And then from then, once you remove the efflorescence, obviously you have to seal it. And then came the need to maintenance the concrete paver driveways. And then obviously when you say maintenance, you need to clean, you need to prepare the surface. And it was a philosophy right from the outset to develop a complete line of product to enable anyone to properly clean, prepare the driveway, and seal it to ensure long-lasting beauty of the product.
Yeah, so because you just said one of the key words, beauty, because we're talking here about surface protection as well as embellishment.
In fact, our tagline has been for 30 years, protect and beautify. And it was from the outset, concrete pavers are a product that will last almost forever. But if you don't protect it, it doesn't really age well. So we need to really help it a little bit. I mean, the product is sound, but you need to help it stay clean in time.
You took the commands of the company, I think in 2002. The Techniseal was already existing. Did you have to make some big changes?
Well, it was a philosophy change. In fact, we used to be mainly a Quebec-orientated company, and that dates back from its start, selling a little bit in Ontario. Having been at the helm of a company that was more international before I got to Techniseal, one of the first things we've done was to gear up the business to be able to tackle the American market. And then following our growth on the U.S. market, we had somewhat a sales force in Europe, when we decided to dedicate a little bit of effort, which in time paid good dividends. So today we're present obviously on the Canadian market, on the U.S. market strongly, and we have developed a fairly good base in Europe, and very proud of our development.
What's your background, professionally speaking? How did you become president of Techniseal?
Well, it comes from 18 years prior to meeting the Techniseal folks. My first business was in the concrete molds. Okay. So I produced molds and machinery. Eventually sold my company to the biggest machinery manufacturer in the world, Besser Company, and it became Besser Canada's president. Ran the company for 7 years with them, traveled all over the world, and an opportunity came up at Techniseal, and it just happened, we had a common friend, and they gave us a ring. We sat down together and fell in love with the company. I mean, obviously Techniseal is an unbelievable company dedicated to beautifying people's property and protecting it in time, and it just stirred up something in me that just propelled me.
And let's go back many years before you did the first degree at Bishop University in management. And after this cycle, you did a master in information technology. How studies in IT can be useful to manage a company like Techniseal?
Well, studying IT created the opportunity to buy half of a business in the concrete industry, which eventually led me to, from the concrete industry, being fairly popular in that industry, and led me to migrate to Techniseal.
R&D are two letters that are very important for you. and for the company. Can you say a word about how it is so important, and why do you spend money and human resources on R&D when people are just looking for the lowest prices?
R&D is, you know, for some people it's a buzzword. For us, it's a way of living. I mean, R&D for us is at the heart of Techniseal. It always has been. 30 years ago, when the efflorescence problem emanated, we had to resolve it. It started by R&D. We've always put R&D in the forefront of our business, making sure that we deliver in any category the best product a consumer can buy and a professional can buy also.
What's your goal? Is it to find new products, or is it to improve the products that already exist?
It's always consumer driven or professional driven. When we look at a product, if you look at why we exist, efflorescence problem. One of the big evolution that took place with Techniseal 15 years ago was trying to resolve one of the paver biggest issue for the consumer, which was weeds, ants, erosion. So following maintenance and protecting the paver, the other thing nobody had taken care of was the weed infestation, the erosion, and a bunch of ants crawling all over the place. So we started looking into the problem and trying to resolve that issue. Today, we are well known around the world for protecting against weeds and ants in the jointing product around concrete pavers.
Speaking of the consumer, he's changing at a very rapid pace. He's becoming greener, and from my point of view, pavement, asphalting, sealing usually are not very ecological. Am I right or wrong?
Well, it goes back from our culture. I mean, we've always been a fairly green company. Anybody visiting our manufacturing site today in Candiac will readily see that we've put in 8 years ago a lot of attention ecologically, but just product-wise. We were the first to introduce water-based asphalt sealer 25 years ago. We had a water-based concrete sealer 30 years ago. So we've always had a tendency to go greener than most. 10 years ago, we started converting most of our product to water-based. Today, we're over 95% of our product are water-based. We keep some product that cannot be water-based, remedial products, when something needs to be fixed. If it's an old generation products, well, you'll need old generation product to fix it if something is wrong. But mainly today, 95% of our product are water-based.
So you are well seen by the groups and the lead movements and those things, and you're trying to align your line of products with this philosophy?
We are LEED certified, and we've spent a lot of effort and a lot of products, certainly in the pro. Less in the consumer. A lot of consumers are not aware of what LEED is, but any projects that we will look at, like projects that are really at the forefront of the public, such as Ground Zero, which you may be aware that we've done that project a few years ago.
Let's talk about that. Yeah, what did you do for this memorial?
Well, at Ground Zero, we were asked to look at the jointing product, and eventually they've realized they needed to clean and seal the ground. So today, we've supplied the sand for the jointing materials for the pavers, and last year they've sealed the whole job, the complete job. We've done a lot of nice projects like Euro Disney in Paris, Munich Airport. Here in Montreal, most of the street in Old Montreal are done with our sand because it's a flexible sand. It's put in dry like regular sand, but once you wet it, it polymerizes, becomes hard. So again, it not only protects against weeds and ants, but it also it's polymer, so it remains a bit flexible, which allow car traffic to go through without cracking like you would have a regular mortar.
So we're talking here about a scientific oriented company, if I can say, and at the same time you can be associated with some heritage projects.
Well, we're really proud of those projects. They're engineering based,
yeah.
So a lot of pride comes out of R&D when they're chosen. For a project like Munich Airport, 11 engineers on the project. Euro Disney, 7 engineers. In Montreal, I don't recall that, at least a half a dozen engineers were on their projects, studying different products and running different tests. They're really proud when we actually get one of those really public projects.